Hey, we're live. Welcome to RGCWV, Random Geek Culture in West Virginia. I'm your host, Luke Hersey, and tonight we are more or less catching up for over the last several months. We took a few months off. The last one we had was our 50th episode spectacular, which many zero people watched us on that podcast. And so with me tonight, we actually are down one person. Mike, his fridge broke because Missouri being Missouri, and so he's out getting one right now. So he can't join us tonight. But with me tonight is also Greg
Hey.
and Alex.
Hey, folks.
So, as you probably might guess, the agenda for tonight isn't really so solidified as it has been in previous episodes, where we have one or two specific topics. Tonight, we have many topics. A lot of things happened. E3 happened. Nintendo won. We all know that. Metroid Dread is coming. The PS5 stock situation has not gotten any better. Though we have some new information from today, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. Lots of director's cuts coming to PlayStation 5 games from the PlayStation 4 generation. Dune is finally coming out, which I'm so excited about. I also wanted to mention Mike's audiobook. I was hoping that Mike would be on here, but I do actually want to have a full podcast about Mike's book, so we'll just go over it and do some of the highlights. And then of course one topic I thought about that we could mention is talking about, is E3 good for the gaming industry? Kind of my thoughts on that. Mentioned that a little bit to Alex. He's got some kind of controversial opinions, or not contradictory opinions. Let's say that. And then, of course, Rick and Morty season 5 is going on right now, which that show's awesome. And if you don't think it's been an awesome season, then you're doing it wrong. Also, Milton Guasti is joining us next podcast. And he's the creator of the AM2R game. And I just wanted to just go over, kind of what that podcast is going to be about for continual 15 listeners is what I see about. And then, of course, Popcon. I wanted to talk about WV Popcon a little bit, and also I wanted to go over the new Modest Mouse album. So, and I didn't know if you guys had any topics at all tonight. Anything you wanted to mention?
I'm just gonna listen to you talk, man.
Oh, come on! Come on!
We know that's what's gonna be anyway.
Am I really that bad?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
I'm giving you a hard time.
Yeah, that's what you do. I mean, I would just talk drone on. I will just call it drone on for an hour. If I didn't have other people to sit here and interact with, and that would not be fun to listen to. So anyway, you guys ready to get into this?
We're like your victims.
Yeah, that's a good way. You know what?
He inflicts himself upon us.
So,
we're not here of our free will.
So, over
I'm blinking in Morse code right now.
After the last couple of months, I myself, I had a flood happen in my basement, so it kind of hindered the podcast. In fact, actually, we were supposed to even be having the Milton episode already, but things got pushed back, and so over the last 2 months, my wife and daughter, they have they have told me on several occasions, Luke, you need to start the podcast back because you've got all this pinned up review energy, and you need to be pushing it off onto the world, not us.
It's what I'm saying. Luke needs an audience.
I need an audience. I need it. I'm a glutton for punishment. I mean, no. Attention. You guys are the gluttons for punishment. So, I guess, did you guys, like that order? Is there anything that you wanted to talk about first out of the things I mentioned? Or itching to talk about?
I have topics, but we'll get into that.
Okay. All right. So, as you all know, E3 was a couple months ago, and it was both awesome and horrible. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched any of the highlights, but like some people showed up and really gave a great presentation. I mean, the first one that I would even think about is Microsoft. Microsoft really brought an A game. They didn't have a whole lot to announce. They basically that it was a whole hour and a half long series of game trailers of all games that are coming to Game Pass. That was the thing that was really kind of like the most surprising thing from the from their presentation was this game is coming to Game Pass, and this game is coming to Game Pass Day 1, and this game is coming to Game Pass Day 1. So, I know we've talked about it before, but it's become more and more evident that Microsoft is starting to take a Netflix approach to this, where they're starting to rely on the content they're bringing to their own streaming service. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I mean, for me, who's not an Xbox owner, if it's coming to Game Pass and it's on PC, which a lot of them are said to be launching on PC and Xbox simultaneously, I mean, when Starfield comes out, I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to be getting Game Pass for a month or two so I can play Starfield. And
play it on computer or stream it.
Yeah, there's that. I'm very excited. Any thoughts?
I don't really care about Xbox. I'm not getting one. I don't play any of those games. I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about it.
That's true. I mean, but I mean, you and I both, Alex, are both. We have PCs. Yours is a little bit better than mine, but we both have PCs, and so that's a lot of where our focus is. But when there's an E3 presentation and you kind of check out, for instance, several years ago for the Sony stuff. I didn't watch that on purpose because I'm like, why would I even get excited about these games if I'm not going to be able to play them, but then Microsoft comes out and says, hey, if you're watching this presentation, I don't care if you have an Xbox, you can play this too. How great is that? I say this all the time, but I love living in the future. But
I'm not a big enthusiast for Games Pass or these things. I can get on my high horse about physical media and stuff like that,
well,
but I'm not gonna.
That's a subject all in its own.
Yeah, all the time. I'm not really into any of these subscription things, but I hear people complain all the time. Oh, this game's going away from my subscription service, and now I can't play it anymore. And that's like, count me out. Count me out of that stuff.
That is a problem.
As the kids say these days, miss me with that, But yeah, Luke's giving me a look right now.
I mean, I'm listening. I'm listening.
I'm somewhat excited to go over to my friend Brian's house whenever we have video game day with the guys. That a lot of the games that we play are Games Pass games. It gives him a wide library to have people over and have a lot of games to play.
I mean,
and that's not always easy to do.
I mean, for instance, we went when I came over to your house and you had all those games on your PC. That's a library that you've been building for 15 years, all on your Steam library. And
yeah,
so last year, 2020, there was a lot of new people that were kind of on the edge of video games, and because we were all on lockdown, there's a lot of, I'm going to say that there was at least a 30, 40, 50% growth of the gaming community. And a lot of these people didn't already have a library, didn't have a lot of games. But then they can get Game Pass, and that library's there already. That's exciting to a lot of people. I mean, not necessarily us who've been collecting games forever, but still.
Well, I like it because I can't afford to buy all the games that I want to play on it. I don't care if they leave later because I don't want them long term, except for the Microsoft games, but they won't leave. So the Microsoft games they stay on it.
One thing I would definitely like to see as far as Microsoft is I would like to see them put a little bit more pressure on Sony, because I'm going to be stopping my PlayStation Now subscription because I've played all of the games that I've wanted to play.
I pay for it for a year and I will not renew it because everything that's on it that I want to play, I bought and played 2 years ago when it was relevant, before they put it on PS Now.
I got it so I could play through the entire Metal Gear Solid series. And I loved it. It was great. And, I mean, $60 for that subscription was well worth it. And I played a lot of other games that I wouldn't have played without it. Infamous Second Son. Fantastic game. I wish more people had tried that. And maybe they did, and I just didn't hear about it. But I don't know. But, I mean, apart from the Microsoft presentation, Nintendo really stacked their entire presentation with everything. But I'm going to segue into our next topic. Very few people, a finite number of people were actually thinking that Metroid Dread was going to be announced.
Yeah, I always dismissed that as that was a rumor. That was just a rumor. That was a dead project that nobody was sure if it was even real or not. And now it's real. It's coming soon. I'm super excited about it.
Super soon. It's coming in October. October 20th? Is it 20th?
I got it marked on my calendar.
It's October something, and I am very, very excited. And the Switch OLED coming out. If you don't have a Switch before, whatever. But if you were a Nintendo fan before, I got my Switch when Smash Brothers came out, and I have a Smash Brothers system. It's got an embossed docking station and everything. But for those people that have been sitting on the edge for a while, but maybe are big Metroid fans, this would be the perfect time to, I'm just going to go ahead and get the OLED Switch, and get Dread day one.
I also take this to mean that this is a commitment that the Switch will continue to be the Switch. This is the console. This is the console going forward for the near future. I think this probably rules out a near-term Switch 2 or whatever it'll be. I think it rules that out. And I've seen a lot of vitriol and controversy about that. I don't care. I'm a little bit happy that there's not going to be a new console that I have to buy. I'm happy with the Switch. I'm happy with the games on it. Make more of them, and I will buy them. That's all I want.
I'm perfectly fine with them coming out with new additions to the Switch. They're basically they're doing exactly what everybody assumed they were going to do, which is take a 3DS approach. They're coming out with the 3DS and the 3DS XL and the 3DS 2 or the 2DS. They had so many editions of it, and then the new 3DS, which had the C stick on it.
Yeah, the 3DS and Knuckles with Cats of the Wild. I remember that one. I know all of them.
What I'm hoping is that they actually come out with a foam one that has like a case that's built in on it, that's partnered with is partnered with Nike. So then and they call that version the Swish. So then they can be called the Swish Swoosh.
The Swish Swoosh. That's the new console. It's fun to say.
Yeah, it is fun to say.
Swish Swoosh. You can't say it without making a stupid face.
Right? At least I can.
Yeah.
But here nor there. And I thought it was really interesting that they decided to announce that not during E3. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, you know what? A bunch of people thought that they were going to announce the Switch Pro at E3. So Nintendo decided to intentionally announce it after E3, so then it wouldn't create confusion. Because the Switch Pro, this is not.
Yeah, I can see that. They're pretty good about timing. I think that's maybe a strength of Nintendo's marketing is timing.
Yeah. We've talked about, how some consoles, some companies, they're very bad at naming their consoles. Nintendo is in the middle of the road. they're not great, but they're not horrible either. Like, I still cannot tell you which Xbox is the current one and which one was the last one. This one's the Series S or
two.
X?
Both.
What?
There's a Series S and a Series X.
Okay.
There's a more powerful one and there's a weaker one.
Okay. So what was the last generation?
Xbox One. I didn't even own one. I just know there was Xbox One S and Xbox One X. Yes.
Okay.
Now,
so there's Xbox One S, there's Xbox One X, and then there's Xbox Series S.
Xbox Series X.
Well, okay, which one is which?
The S is always the weaker one. So the Xbox One came out first, and then when they made the Xbox One X, which is more powerful, the base one became the S.
But X comes later in the alphabet. I would think it would be higher in number. That doesn't make any sense.
So
their naming system doesn't make any sense. The only one that had a cool name was the 360.
No, the thing that was actually the cool name was the Xbox One X, because Xbox One X, the acronym for it,
the same.
Is Xbox.
Yeah. I looked it up there. It was a joke I saw a while back that was the new Nintendo console's name. It's going to be the new Super Nintendo Switch U Pro 1 XL Series X Entertainment System Deluxe and Knuckles plus Cats of the Wild.
Sounds about right.
That's the new console. That's the new console name. It rolls off the tongue.
The PlayStation's not very creative with their naming system, but at least it's easily understood. There's
I know which one is which.
A 3, a 4. It's easily understood.
The Xbox 4 Pro. Okay, it's the 4, but it's the bigger
version.
Model. Yeah, it's the bigger model.
Sounded like a helicopter taking off.
Yeah, I never had that problem. However, the like I had the Slim, and a lot of people said that one really sounded like a jet engine, but I actually have my my Slim up on risers.
Ah. See, I never heard any of the bass ones get loud, but the Pro, where it was like, I think it was really pushing its hardware to put out some of the images it did. That thing, it sounded like it was going to lift off of the ground every time you started. It didn't take very long for it to be on before you had to turn up the TV to drown it out, which is why I love the 5 because I can't hear it.
I actually
can't
keep
hear it.
I actually keep my 5. Oh, by the way, I got a 5.
I see your
I saw the
box.
box.
I see your
I was gonna
placement back
ask you
there.
I got a 5. But that I keep it in my cabinet. I have nothing else in the chamber with the cabinet, and I most of the time have my cabinet open while I'm playing. You know, just for heat flow or airflow and stuff. But back to PlayStation 5. Since we're off Nintendo and Dread and everything. I was so the one guy that I follow on Twitter, he put out that there was a new sale coming. I had been trying for several months to try to get one, and he said it was going to be a PlayStation or a GameStop exclusive. So I got the GameStop. I got in on that GameStop Pro member exclusive. And I wasn't a Pro member before, so I went ahead and got a year subscription, which I bought it with my Credit Karma account. And Credit Karma, they have like a lottery where sometimes they can refund you your purchase, and I got my subscription refunded. It's too bad I didn't get my PlayStation refunded, but because the bundle was more than I was expecting, I bought it on the card, but that would have been wild if my PlayStation had been reimbursed. But I got my subscription for free, that's not nothing. That's not nothing.
They're going to start having more of them because they're starting to switch out the parts slightly that are in them from different sources so they can make more, which also made them cheaper. They're now selling them at a profit, which is unusual because they usually sell their consoles at cost or a loss.
Yeah.
They're actually switching over to profit mode on them.
Part of that reasoning is though that the consoles themselves, they've now passed their R&D threshold as well. That's a big factor because I don't know if you've seen the statistic, but this is now Sony's fastest selling system.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Both it and the Xbox are actually doing really well. The PlayStation is beating the Xbox, but they're both doing the best for their respective IPs.
And part of the reason is not because there's a shortage or there's a greater demand, except the fact that the greater demand is what we already went over. There's more gamers now.
There is.
And a lot more people are now trying to get these systems. And it's not, I mean, yes, there is still some scalping, but it's not as heavy as it was.
I think they're trying to entice people to buy them too, because like I could have cared less about the Xbox One. I thought its game library was totally not worth buying one. I saw no purpose in one. I had a 360. I liked my 360, but the Xbox One, I was like,
I even had a 360 for a while.
But the new one, well, it plays them all the way back to the original. It's completely backwards compatible. It has Game Pass. It has these things that make it kind of desirable. You can watch. It's Dolby Vision capable if you want to make it a media center. Like it's got, and then the PlayStation 5, it goes back and plays most of the PS4 library, which is the biggest library they have. And then it has its nice little fancy features. It's got its nice DualSense controller. So I think they're trying to get things to entice people to say, hey, this is worth upgrading to. Because sometimes people are slow to upgrade. They don't usually upgrade this fast. But it's like, here, we did this so that you want to upgrade now. You want this. You need this.
I definitely agree with you. Both consoles have done very well on enticing people to make that jump, even though it's hard to come by. But Sony's announcement today. I mean, I'm talking about both of them, but Sony's announcement today was they can continue this current supply train or a supply chain all the way to the end of the year. They've already secured all the semiconductors that they need to finish out the year with the current supply, and also ramping up in December or November.
It's definitely a weird console generation that I think in the history books, as it were, will have an asterisk next to it forever. That just weird, rocky start. I feel like a lot of developers are slow to adopt. You know, there's just not a lot of big exclusives on them. There's not a lot of, what do they call those? The games that come out with it. Release titles.
Yeah. Well, I tell
Not
you what,
only
Ratchet and Clank is a hell of
that's a good one.
release title. I have never been big
That's
on
the one.
I
know.
have never.
What?
Well, Xbox doesn't even have one.
Mm-hmm.
I've played almost all of the release exclusives and most of the upgrades for the PlayStation 5. I've played most of the next gen level games and the only exclusive on the Xbox. Nothing really impressed me except for Ratchet and Clank. I was very underwhelmed or flat out didn't even like the rest of them. I got rid of some of them because I never want to play them again and never will play them again. They weren't good. They weren't.
I've never played one.
Ratchet and Clank is seriously a perfect
Amazing
launch title because it makes you really see what is possible for this next generation. Because this feels like a next generation game.
It's the first one.
Not only does it look beautiful, not only does it have adaptive triggers, but like on big enemies or bosses or whatever. You know, at the beginning of the boss battle, how you'd always have like in the background or maybe sometimes around the sides, you'd have texture pop in. Never once. On a huge big open environment, there's no texture pop in. It's all there. It's what it is. It literally is like playing a movie.
It is like playing a movie. It is so good. And like I said, I was very underwhelmed by the rest of the games, or just flat out didn't like them. Wasn't impressed with them visually, wasn't impressed with their features, did not feel. I'm like, man, why did I go ahead and buy this thing? Like, I don't like it. Then I get Ratchet and Clank. I'm like, oh, I like this. Yeah. Like, this is a whole new level. Now I feel like I've played something next generation, and for it to be so out there and so far ahead of all the other games this early, because they only get better usually as time proceeds.
Ghost of Tsushima.
So this is how we're starting with something that stands out. I'm like, oh, it's only gonna get better.
Right.
There's really a separate discussion entirely. Idea for a podcast, write this down, Luke. Release titles. That there really is a uniqueness to a console's release titles. And developers have that in mind, that it needs to sell the new console, number one, but it also needs to show you what it can do. Yes. That, like, I remain, from like middle school, I remain blown away by Mario 64. Like, that intro scene was like the intro to the console generation for me. for me. That's like, it's gonna be in 3D from now on, and I was blown away, and I never got over that.
My
You know,
first,
another that comes to mind
my
is
first-
Wii Sports.
oh
Wii
That
Sports was a good one.
yeah,
It was
it showed you what the console can do.
and then it came back
Goat.
with a second WoW with Wii Sports Resort. That was fantastic too.
Yeah.
No, but my intro to 64 was Link or Ocarina of Time, and that one had an amazing opening as well. It was like, okay, this is how it's going to be from now on. This is
Yeah. There's a whole, that's a discussion in and of itself. Release titles and Ratchet and Clank, bringing it back to Ratchet and Clank. I've never played any of the Ratchet and Clank games, but I want to play this one.
Well,
I
would suggest
it's great.
I would suggest going and getting the Ratchet and Clank that came out for PS4, because what it does is it abridges the entire series into one game, and it's actually pretty good. I played through about half of it, and I did enjoy myself, but it's nothing compared. Not even close.
If you get a PS5, I think it's one of the games that comes in the collection.
It is.
So,
which, by the way, I want to mention the collection. Guess what I'm playing, Greg?
what?
You're gonna be real happy that I'm finally playing it. I'm gonna give you one guess.
Okay. I don't know.
Oh, you were super excited about this game. You were telling everybody how great it was.
Which one?
Monster Hunter World.
Oh, yeah, Monster Hunter World is pretty fun. I haven't played it in a long time, but it is pretty fun.
I had played some other ones. I had tried it because, I mean, it's a pretty big game for Capcom, and I had tried some other ones, and I didn't really like them.
No, this was the first one that I was like.
Monster Hunter World is awesome.
Yeah, that was the first one that I was like, ooh, now I like Monster Hunter. I didn't like Monster Hunter before, but I like it now.
Tracking the monsters through the jungle and, these long, epic battles, and there's so many different variations on how they can go. You can jump on their back and stab them.
And the weapons, and the variety of weapons, and the weapon combos, and it's fun.
So, Alex, if you get a PlayStation 5, get a PlayStation Plus account. Because
it gives you like 20 games, I think, isn't it?
It gives you 20 games when you start.
They're PS4 games, but they run beautifully on the 5.
Yeah, well, let's be honest, though. A lot of these PS4 games were developed with the PS4 Pro in mind.
Yes, they were.
So,
well, the Ratchet and Clank redo.
Yeah.
It actually looks pretty good. It doesn't look nearly as good as Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Not even close.
But for a PS4 game,
yeah,
it looks pretty good. It was very enjoyable.
I feel like I've played all the PS4 games that I wanted to play.
I mean, there's.
I already owned some of the ones on the 20, so I didn't get a full 20. But
I owned like maybe half of them, and like the other I was probably interested in 5 of the ones that actually it gave me, and then the other 5 were like Modern Warfare, and I'm like,
what was Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition on there too?
Yes,
was that one of?
Yes,
that was one of them.
And I'm
because
excited
I had
to play
the original,
that.
and I didn't have I had the original, but not the Royal Edition. So I'm tempted to replay it.
I'm excited to replay that at some point in time on the.
Yeah, it's not high on my list. My backlog's so big, it's not high on my list of things to do. Yeah, because I can play it this whole generation. I'm fine.
I played it in and we're at the beginning of the generation, so there's going to be gaps. There's going to be gaps where there's going to be nothing to play. But,
so
I mean,
I have my backlog.
I'm excited for a lot of the director's cuts that are coming. I mean, obviously, Ghost of Tsushima.
So
That is
good. It
that
looks
is
so good.
that is going to be a great. I actually have not played the PS5 or played it on my PS5 yet because
Oh, it's 60 frames.
when I first booted up, I want to be wowed. I want that expansion, that new island, to be as much as I loved the base game.
There's just one thing I hate about how they did the upgrade.
What?
If you already own it, you have to buy the upgrade, which is the director's cut.
Mhm.
But the PS5 version of the upgrade is an extra $10, and you can't buy it until the game comes out.
Right.
So I can't have it pre-installed. I'm not happy.
Yeah. Oh, and you have a slow web connection.
It's better than it used to be, but compared to most people who live within city limits, yes, it is slow.
Yeah, I've got like 80 megs down. I'm supposed to have 100, but I have like 80. Alex, you're even higher, aren't you?
No. Mine, I don't get what I pay for. I think I get eight. No, okay, gigabits. That's it. Yeah, 8 gigabits per second. Does that sound right?
No.
That would be extremely fast.
Never mind. Megabits.
That would be smoking.
Megabits. Okay.
Okay, so you're dial-up?
I'm a system administrator. I swear. I'm a computer guy.
That's really slow. Then I'm doing better than he is. If that's what he's got.
My internet. I pay for like the economy package.
Oh. Now, I actually have the most expensive version of what I can get, but it's all expensive because it's wireless and I live in the middle of nowhere.
The only economy package I ever buy is for my tires.
That's a bad idea, Luke.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Economy all-season tires are the way to go. You're going to be changing them every, 4 years anyway.
We're in West Virginia. Buy winter. This is getting off the rails. Buy winter treads.
No.
Totally worth it. Yes.
No. Well, you buy. Oh, you have a 2-wheel drive vehicle though.
Yeah.
I have 2 all-wheel drive vehicles. I think that's where the difference is here. I think that's the difference.
I think your location has something to do too. If you worked where I worked, you may want different tires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you might both have a point, but I'm still right. Anyway, back to these director's cuts. So yes, we already talked about how we're excited about Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm also excited about the director's cut of Death Stranding. I
never played the first one.
I am super excited to go back to that game in 4K, 60 frames. I am excited. I'm also excited that there's going to be a lot of new content added to it. Now, Hideo Kojima has gone on record and said to call this a director's cut is not accurate. This is this is just the stuff that they cut from development that they decided to not include on the initial release, but still had a lot of the assets for. So over the last 2 years, they kind of built it out in preparation. But it's to call it a director's cut isn't actually accurate, because that's like saying that the first one was what Sony, that was the theatrical release, and the release that came out initially was the director's cut. It was the edition that the director himself was happy with. This is just, they don't even know why they went with the name director's cut, other than that some other studio. Yeah, it sounds cool.
It sounds cool. I've never played it before, so now I'm just going to wait. I just wait till,
I will say that the game it was beautiful in 1080p. It's going to be even better in 4K, and I think it's going to be. I think you're going to enjoy your experience, and with adaptive triggers, it's going to be even better than it was.
If they use them right, because not every game has.
I mean, I have a lot of faith in Hideo Kojima when it comes to game development. Actually expect him to use it, in a unique way. I didn't say better. Hideo Kojima does not do things better all the time, but he uses them uniquely. He pushes the envelope in game development, and that's why I appreciate him. He's like Tim Schafer. He doesn't give me the same thing that I always that every other studio gives me. He gives me something new. So, anyway.
What is the release date for that one?
For what? For
That's when's that coming out?
it's either the end of September or beginning of October. It's
Okay.
it's around the Dread time frame. So I'm going to be bouncing back and forth, which I'm already bouncing back and forth because I got Skyward Sword for my birthday, so playing that too. Which I'm actually enjoying that more now that there's no motion controls. I mean,
There is if you want there to be.
yeah, if I want to punish myself a fourth time, I tried to play it 3 times on Wii, and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't.
I've heard a lot of that. I've never played it yet, so
I've talked to you guys. Have I talked about Skyward Sword on
Yes.
this show?
yes.
Yeah.
And I do plan on getting it. I just wasn't getting it initially because I'm not like rushing to play it. I haven't played it yet, so I'm not like, money's tight. Not rushing to play it. I'll play it when the time comes, but I do plan on playing it.
I'm excited to see how the motion controls play on Switch. If they're better, if they're at least the same. Because to me, I disagree with Luke completely here. If I were to play this game, I would definitely play it with motion controls, and I hope it would be at least as good as it was on Wii. I hope that it's better. It would be exciting if it was.
I will try it on motion controls, but if I don't like it, I'll go to the Pro Controller.
And now I don't want to be a gatekeeper here. Play this game. Play this game however you want to play it, because it's a fantastic game that I feel like too many Zelda fans skipped. It's play it however you got to play it.
Which, I mean,
I do want to play it.
The Zelda that's behind me is actually the one that's modeled from Skyward
Mhm.
Sword.
He looks great in that. I love everything about it. The visual style is just exactly what I've always wanted 3D Zelda to look like.
I also want to play it for lore purposes. Isn't it the first one in the timeline before it switches?
It's pretty.
It's the first one before the timeline splits, isn't it?
Yeah,
No,
it's before the timeline
first one,
splits, yeah.
period.
Mhm.
Which I was actually
And then the
watching a
timeline splits
review.
after it.
I was watching a review about it today, and what the guy said? It's wood. It's wood's beat 'em ups. You know what he said? He said, we always thought that Breath of the Wild was at the end of the timeline, but I'm starting to think that maybe it's at the beginning.
It could be one of the.
And
I hate the timeline.
I have told Alex several times that I think that Breath of the Wild proves that the timeline is circular, that it's a circle.
That's a plausible theory, considering that they're all being reincarnated over and over anyway. So it's possible it's a complete loop.
Okay.
I mean,
I have
if
a
you
little.
watch the Loki series. Have you seen it yet, Alex? Have you watched it?
Nah, I haven't gotten around to it. I've got a lot of other shows.
Loki is the most important piece of media for the future of MCU. Like, it is what everything hinges on.
It wasn't my favorite of the series, but he's right. The whole thing sets up like the next probably several movies.
The next
Okay.
the next
The whole phase, like the next.
the whole
It's-
series of phases. Really,
Yeah.
I swear I'll get to it.
you can swear all you want. Tell it to me when you're done. So back to media though. Dune is finally coming out. Super excited about that. I was excited about this movie when they first announced the cast list.
The cast is amazing.
3 years ago. 3 years ago. I mean, everybody that they picked to be in the cast was phenomenal picks. I mean, Josh Brolin's in it. Neil Pasta is in it. Oscar Isaac is in it. My head is exploding with. I have watched the trailer so many times. Ever since I first read the book in college, I've wanted a good theatrical release of this story. Now, they did have Dune in the 80s, and it was okay. It was fine. Now, if you have access to it, the sci-fi miniseries of Dune was actually very good. It's like 4.5 hours, but it was pretty good. The special effects are okay. You know, it's because it was a not necessarily a network television movie, but it was produced by the Sci-Fi Channel, so it kind of is. But I am planning on, and Greg, I don't know if I hit you up. Me and Alex are planning on going to go see this on the 17th of October. Is it the 17th? I think it's the 17th. I'll message you later. We're planning to going up to Pittsburgh to see it in IMAX. Biggest screen possible, baby.
I haven't seen an IMAX movie in a long time.
You know what? The last movie that I saw in IMAX was actually Monty Python and the Holy Grail. First time that Bella had seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail was in IMAX. And she was quoting that movie for like a month after. Such a timeless movie. Such a timeless movie. But I'm super excited for Dune. I'm glad they're finally releasing this. I just hope that Dune is not hindered by Delta.
Yeah.
It is coming out at an unfortunate time of the year if Delta does become a problem. The fall.
I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but the numbers are higher than they were this time last year.
Yeah.
So
winds are a changing.
Winds are changing, which I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you about something I found out today off of stream, Alex. Okay, next thing, Mike's audiobook. So, Into the Country Dark came out last year. Really, really good book. Got about a quarter of the way through it and put it down because I'm not much of a book reader. I'm a system administrator, so I read technical documents all the time, and like a machine mechanic who works on cars all day and has a beater car. That's me. You would say, well, why do you do stuff with computers? That's the part of my job I like. I don't like reading technical documents, and that's half of my job. And so, reading for pleasure is not something that I do. Now, listening I like. Now, I kind of knew what Mike's book was about, and I liked the premise, but and Mike said that he was going to be coming out with the audio version of it, and the thing that I was worried about, because I mean, me and Alex, we listen to a lot of audiobooks. Do you listen to audiobooks, Greg? Okay, listen to audiobooks. It's a good time.
I never have what I want.
Huh?
Oh, there's an audiobook for everything.
There's an audiobook for everything. Anyway. Listen to Sabriel and then get back to me. Sabriel by Tim Curry. Oh,
what is that?
Man.
Oh, we'll talk to you about that. Sabriel is a fantasy novel that the audiobook is narrated by Tim Curry, and I have to say, he makes it. He absolutely makes that so fantastic.
The Mordicant.
He just has this voice throughout, and
I am the Abhorsen.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Tim Curry's, his booming, baritone voice just comes out, and it really sells that book to me. It's called Sabriel. It's part of a greater chronology called the Abhorsen saga. It's about this necromancer kind of girl.
The world's only good necromancer.
Yeah.
He is the one. He or she, the Abhorsen is tasked with the job to.
But anyway, Mike's audiobook.
to cast the dead to where they belong.
What is Mike's book about?
So anyway, no, I was actually segueing. I mentioned Sabriel for a reason, and you totally made my point, Alex. A good audiobook can either be made or broken by its narrator. And Mike's book was already good. But the narrator that Mike picked was worth every penny. He's fantastic. He's actually a serious actor. He's in stuff. I don't know specifically what he's in. In fact, I'd like to get him on the podcast here, within the next couple of months, talking about the book. Having a whole episode about his book specifically. But the thing that I wanted to mention about tonight was, we're a West Virginia based geek podcast, and this story, it's a West Virginia crime drama, and there are several things that happen in the story that anybody could enjoy, but somebody from West Virginia will totally be like, oh my god, I totally know that's a thing. Oh, I can't believe he did that. Oh man, that's what happens. One of the great scenes from the book, and it doesn't spoil anything, is the two main characters. They stop in front of their old grade school, and it was abandoned. It was they turned it over to the city, and then the fire department was using it for storage for a while, but nobody was using it. But what the schools did is they consolidated, and so that old school building became abandoned. And you were like, yeah, that's all over West Virginia. There's elementary schools all over the place that have been consolidated into county elementary schools, and they've just got abandoned buildings dotted all over the place. And there's all kinds of stuff like that that's so ingrained into this book that it's just, anybody that geeks out about West Virginia, this is a great book for that. So
yeah, I fully intend to listen to his audiobook. I need Greg, if you're listening, let me know the best place to buy your audiobook. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him because
Are you
I
saying-
want to hear this thing.
Are you saying Mike? What's
Mike.
the best place?
Mike.
to-
Greg, I remember you people.
You got beards,
Whoever you are,
beards
I
and
don't know.
glasses.
Yeah, it all blends. I'm sorry. Mike Mallow's
I
book.
actually asked him.
Fully
I actually-
intend to.
I actually asked him that, and the best place to buy it is on Audible.
Okay.
That's where
Okay.
he gets the most profit from.
Yeah.
So-
I want to listen to it, and I feel like if you're looking for geek culture from West Virginia, this is it. There it is.
Really is.
You know, Mike's audiobook.
Into the Country Dark.
Or I shouldn't say audiobook, also his paper his
paperback. His paperback is out there too. It's also
Mhm.
on Amazon, and it's been reviewed. And it's actually both the book and the audiobook are both award winning.
Okay, yeah.
He's won awards for this stuff.
Be sure to get links in the show notes for that.
I will do that. So, moving on. You know what? We'll skip the E3. Is it good for the industry? It's fine. Rick and Morty season 5. Okay, I do actually want to talk about this for a second. So, a lot of people on the internet has said that this is a horrible season, that they're not doing it right. Doesn't have any continuity to the series. What I say to those people is that you've been thinking about this show way too much, and you're not just enjoying it. They set up this universe where anything can happen. And just because there's a couple episodes where anything can happen, you don't like that the thing that happened? Come on, dude, you're doing this show wrong.
You know, I've thought about this. Fandoms, as it were, are really a double-edged sword for any piece of media because they do generate a lot of interest, but they also generate a lot of toxic expectation that just everything of this show is going to be perfect, and in the minute it isn't, or not even if it's less than perfect, but it isn't precisely what you wanted. It's only 99% of what you wanted, and I'm mad about it because I'm in a fandom. I don't know, folks. Settle down. It's a good show.
Yeah. It is a good show. I mean, there's been all kinds of like twists and turns in the season, and it's fine. It's fine. So there's an incest baby in space that's giant.
No, I've laughed out loud. The second episode with the decoy families, that is I haven't had time to sit with it, but I think that's one of the best episodes of the whole show. Whole series. Decoy family episode. God,
Yeah.
it was hilarious all the way through.
And it was exactly what I feel like the season is every time that you're like, oh, okay, this is actually the Smith family. Oh, wait, no, they just died. Okay, this is this. No, they just died.
Yeah. That just it at some point it doesn't matter. I think we got Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Time zones, right?
Yeah, how's the fridge hunt? Did you get something?
Oh, I got a mini fridge.
Oh, you got a
That,
mini fridge?
that one I did. Yeah. Well, yeah. They. My landlord has to get the big fridge, so that's on him.
Yeah.
But I have to wait 2 weeks, so I kind of need a fridge in between then.
You just missed it, Mike. We were just talking about your audiobook.
Hey, I know that guy.
I told our viewers, am I correct in saying that the best place to buy it is from Audible?
Yeah, I would recommend Audible. I mean, it's all through Amazon regardless.
Okay.
And I think that's the best thing that Amazon does as far as audiobooks go. They have it. It's also on Apple, but it's like a port from Amazon, and it doesn't give you the right chapter titles or whatever. So just get it from Audible.
Okay.
I want to buy your book. I want to buy your book, and I want to listen to it in my car.
Yay!
Yes.
It is a grand experience. Like when I was reviewing it, I was like, these are things that I wrote to somebody who's reading, and it sounds a lot better reading than what sounded in my mind writing it.
Well, that's one of the things that I was saying was, a good narrator can make or break an audio book, and the guy that you got was worth every penny.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I met him right after me and my wife got married because she went to finish up her degree in WVU in the drama department, and he was like one of the first people I met when we moved there originally. They were doing a play, which to this day is the funniest play I've ever seen.
Really? What play is it?
It's called A Flea and Hurrier.
What?
And A Flea and Hurrier. You'll have to look it up.
Okay.
I don't remember much about it. I just remember laughing my butt off the whole time, and he had one of the best parts in it too.
Would you say that's the funniest thing that you've seen at the CAC?
Absolutely, yeah.
Even more than Lewis Black?
I'm going to say yes, in that by the time we saw Lewis Black, we kind of knew all the jokes and everything, so
Yeah.
you don't laugh quite as hard. Same thing.
I wore that CD out.
Yeah, so did I. So I mean, we were very familiar with his material by the time we got to that point.
Yeah.
But we also, and I don't think you know this, we did whose line is it anyways? When it was at the CAG, and we knew the guy who was the promoter, and we had front row seats, and so we got to watch it in the front row, and also they when they do viewer suggestions, they took our suggestions first. So they read our suggestions on stage, which was awesome.
That's funny.
That was also funny, but still not as funny as Flea and Hurrier. That was a tangent.
No, that's fine. That's been this whole podcast episode was, tangent after tangent after tangent.
That's right.
So, okay, we went over Rick and Morty. Okay, Milton Guasti. We're having him on the podcast next month, and I am super excited. If you guys don't know who that is, so Metroid games, you might know those. So Metroid 2 was the one and only game where Samus is doing what Samus do, which is hunt Metroids. It's in the title, and she doesn't seem to ever be doing that. But she did it in this game, and the game's concept was very cool at the time, but it was for the Game Boy, and it was a game that was hindered by its hardware. So, Milton, when he was trying to, get his feet wet and trying to get into game development, he decided to do something he knew. So he, in Game Maker Studio, which if you know anything about game development, that's an obtuse game making studio to use. I tried to make a game in that one time and did not have very good results. Now Godot is a good engine. Godot is a great engine. Open source too. That's a little bit of a tangent, but if you're somebody that's listening that wants to develop games, Godot is a good engine. and it's on Steam. But anyway, Milton, he remade, seemingly by himself in Game Maker Studio, the Metroid 2. It's actually called AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. And so as he was developing this, people kind of got wind that he was developing this thing. So they were like, "Hey, I make assets. I make graphical assets. And stuff. Do you want some help? I'd be happy to help. So this one man project became several people kind of donating their time and their their expertise to help make this project a thing. And then as soon as he finally finishes it and comes out with it, Nintendo gives him a cease and desist. Seemingly because they're coming out with their own remake of their own game, and it's their intellectual property, so they're entitled to that. So that's fine. And it's not like Nintendo decided that they were going to come out with it after his game, because they came out with it like a year later, Alex? This one. For the 3DS, and it's actually pretty good. It's the same game mechanics that's going to be in Metroid Dread, so it's kind of a good segue into it. So if you haven't played it, Metroid Return of Samus for 3DS.
What is it?
Metroid Return of Samus for 3DS. It's actually good.
The type is very tiny.
Huh? What'd you say?
I've actually never played that one.
It's good. It's really good.
Mhm.
And you have time to run out and try to find this. And if you have a 3DS, do you have a 3DS?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest going out and getting a 3DS and getting that game just to play that game.
Metroid 2 was my first Metroid game, and is for the original Game Boy, and just a remake of that. I was so excited about that, to relive that, because I had really good memories of playing it as in like 4th grade as a kid, and yeah, to get to just revisit that game was fantastic. God, Dread's coming out.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And I'm jazzed for that. I came on here just to talk about how excited I was about that, and now I did.
We can circle it back around if you want, because we did go over that first thing.
No, I just want to say how excited I was.
Oh, okay. That was it. That was all you wanted to say.
That's it. Yeah, end of list.
End of list. But yeah, Milton will be on the podcast next month. Super excited. He is one of our biggest guests ever. It's kind of a toss-up between him and Rudy Reyes. Probably Milton is a bigger deal to us as geeks, where Rudy Reyes is more known to the general community. So it's I'm gonna put them right about the same position, I think.
And AM2R, we'll talk about it plenty next time, but I gotta say, even while he's not here, AM2R, there are some things in that game that it's a real toss-up as to whether or not the official remake or AM2R is better. Because, it's a real toss-up. I don't know. There are things about AM2R that are absolutely better than the official release.
The melee counter that you do in the Nintendo official remake, that's really cool. And it's really awesome when you can do it to a Metroid, But Milton's rendition of the Metroid Queen battle, there's no contest. His is so infinitely better than the one. But
That's an accomplishment to do better than a real studio, you know.
But then Nintendo's finished out with the Ridley battle, and that was actually phenomenal. It was a good cap for that game.
Right,
Really
right.
good cap. But anyway, yeah, excited for that episode, and it's going to be about, with him, but also kind of picking his brain about indie development, because that's something we've talked about on the podcast several times, but I want to really dive into indie development and, kind of pick his brain about, what he perceives the industry, as indie development is getting bigger. So, okay, two more topics, and then we're done. Okay, WV Popcon. We've been there. WV Popcon is canceled. It's canceled. There is going to be, for the first time, Mountaineer Comic-Con. That's in the middle of September. Tickets range from which day you go to. There's going to be several guests there. The two that I most notably remember, three. The three I most notably remember. The one guy from a bunch of the Happy Gilmore, or the Happy Madison movies. He was the he played a bunch of different characters in that. I forget his name. But then, of course, also there's the guy that was Malcolm in Malcolm in the Middle. He's going to be there at Mountaineer Popcon. And then what's the other guy? I'm feeding back from somebody. Then there's the guy that was in the original Flash TV show from CBS. The guy that played Flash. And then again, Flash's dad on the CW show. He's going to be there. I don't know where I'm feeding back from. So
it's probably me. I don't have headphones on.
Oh. Okay, that's fine. Just as long as I know where it's coming from.
Try mute while it's on.
Now, the reason why WV Popcon is actually canceled, two reasons. One, you can probably guess it. There was a lot of people and vendors that aren't going to WV Popcon this year. The just COVID reasons. And that we already knew. But the thing that a lot of people don't know is the organizer or co-organizer, his wife died. His wife died rather unexpectedly, and she was half the reason why they did this. She was the other co-organizer, and her passing has just made it too difficult for the organizer to, with the fact that it's already been difficult enough with, trying to get vendors and everything, that it's just, he doesn't want to do it this year. But he does want to do it next year. He's not saying he doesn't want to do it anymore. His heart's not in it this year. So, and that's very understandable. So, anyway, John Hayes, who we've had on the podcast, our thoughts and prayers go out to you, buddy. Come back next year, and we'll be there with bells on. So, last thing I wanted to talk about that's happened over the last couple months is the new Modest Mouse album that came out, which me and Mike have talked about a little bit in depth. But man, if you're a fan of Modest Mouse and you haven't listened to him for a while and didn't love the last album, which I didn't love the last album, I liked liked a few songs on it, but I didn't love the last album. I more liked earlier Modest Mouse. This new album is really good. It took me a little bit to get into it, but now that I'm into it, it's all I'm listening to right now. Like, if I'm listening to music, I'm listening to that album. So, very... Did Mike freeze? He was like... For like 30 seconds. So... Okay. I think that's all of the many topics that I had for this podcast episode. But Alex, did you have a topic?
Yeah, a couple of things I wanted to talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
I've been really excited about the Olympics. That's kind of my geek out for today. Is the Olympics? I love the Olympics. They shine a spotlight on all of the sports that you don't really see very much on television. I love to see the professional leagues of table tennis and like what else? All forms of wrestling and karate and taekwondo and boxing. I love to watch that stuff. It's the Olympics. Are you guys watching the Olympics?
I've watched some. I've watched a few things. I hear that there was quite a stir with fencing this year.
Luke gives me the tee off.
Yeah.
Yes. The Olympics are especially exciting to me because I've mentioned on the show before I practice fencing, and
practice. You're like in the top 5 fencers in the whole state, competitive.
Yeah, I
technically
am one of the best fencers in West Virginia because there aren't very many fencers in West Virginia.
Just like technically, I'm President Commissioner Hersey.
Right, Lord Commissioner.
No, President Commissioner. I'm the president of the Building and Zoning Commission.
But anyway, as a fencer, it is basically the only time that I ever see my sport played at a top level. I mean, there are other ways that I could watch fencing, but I never get around to it. The Olympics is the time that I get to see the top fencers in the world play against each other, and it is really exciting. Lee Kiefer from the U.S. team got the gold medal for women's foil this year, and like it's a sport that the U.S. doesn't usually do good in, but it was really exciting to see her matches because she was on nobody's favorites list, and she a lot of upsets, a lot of surprises from that. In men's épée, Romain Canone was the gold medalist from Italy. He was a replacement. He wasn't even supposed to be in the men's individual events. The person that he replaced was eliminated for reasons that I'll not get into. But they brought in his alternate, and his alternate won the gold medal. Now, it's not to say that this guy came out of left field. He is a well-known championship fencer who is placed in national and world stage tournaments.
But technically,
before
he's a rookie to Olympics.
To the Olympics, this guy is represented. He represented France in World Championship Olympics in the past, but he represented Italy in the Olympics and won gold in men's épée. Probably my favorite fencer to follow, Alexander Macialis from the United States. He didn't do quite as well this year. He was ranked 18 in men's individual foil, and I believe he got silver in the previous Olympics in Rio. He's, as far as fencing goes, he's one of the big names just internationally, and 18th is a little low on the scale for him. So that's my excitement with getting to see big time fencing, and it's so fast. It's so fast. I can't even follow it. Those people are nuts. Olympics. And one more thing about the Olympics, though. I was really excited. The opening ceremony. It's in Japan, so of course, they have the Parade of Nations. They have everybody come out to video game music and everything, and it is just something else to see the delegation from Tajikistan or something to come out to the Final Fantasy theme, or the theme from Dragon Quest or something. I think they probably had some kind of a partnership with Square Enix. I know it was. But, Nigeria, and then the Nier Automata plays.
What was the one team in the Futurama Olympics that was the Nation of Fred or the Nation of Greg? What was it? Do you remember, Mike?
No, that's from Fallout.
I can't think of it.
I can't remember that either.
It sounds familiar, though.
It was just exciting to see all of these Square Enix themes and all of these countries coming out to the Dragon Quest, overture. It was awesome. Olympics. Watch the Olympics.
What was you also wanted to mention the game you've been playing.
Yes. So I've been crazy obsessed over this game, Dyson Sphere Program. And it's a game that's kind of like, it's one of those factory builders like Factorio or Satisfactory, where you go to the thing and you build the stuff. And it is all about eventually building a Dyson Sphere,
Nation
which is
of
like
Joe.
a
That's what it was. Nation of Joe. Okay. Anyway, Dyson Sphere.
Yeah, it's a game I'm playing.
Now, I'm going to attempt to try to say what a Dyson Sphere is. Dyson Sphere is a series of energy collecting devices that one would place around the sun to get 100% efficiency out of the greatest energy-producing material in the universe.
Yeah, that's where I was getting, but Nation of Joe, right? Yeah. It is. The goal of the game is to build a Dyson Sphere, which is a fictional megastructure in which they build a shell around an entire star to harness all of the energies from that star, and it's effectively an infinite energy source. And the game is early access on Steam right now, and like a lot of times that's a red flag. Early access. I did have some pause in buying that game. It feels like a mostly finished experience, and like it received a major feature update just well in the recent month. So it is under active development. It's not one of those vaporware kind of things. It's getting new features, and it is a mostly complete game already. I've put well over 100 hours in it already. Dyson Sphere Program. If you like sim games to build factories and stuff like that, it's fantastic.
Now, weren't you saying it's more or less a supply management game than anything?
Yeah, that's a big part of it, that you need the green canisters to make the purple canisters, but to make the purple canisters, you need like hydrogen and deuterium and all these other elements, and then you got to have iron, and that makes into iron ore, and then you need to make iron ore to make steel. That's the game. It's building a factory, a tiered, resources to resources to resources to resources.
Right.
And then the final thing is a Dyson Sphere. My criticism of the game is that once you have the sphere, it feels like there's something you should be able to do with it, You know, I mean, it does do things. It does generate energy, and it generates a resource that you can't make from anything else. But it just seems like there should be more. I have this legendary megastructure that it's crazy. You in the game, you walk around on the surface of the planet and you actually look up in the sky and see this behemoth that you've built around the sun, that blocks out the light of the sun even. And I don't know, you just get the Dyson Sphere and that's basically the end. It seems like there should be more. And I expect, and the developers have even said that there will be more tiers of things to do in the game, that their intention is for the Dyson Sphere to be like halfway. That's like the halfway point. You have it, now there's like a lot of things you can do with it.
Maybe you can build a large rocket or large energy propulsion device where it pushes out the energy and destroys planets or whole star systems from a distance.
Doesn't seem like that kind of game. I don't know. It's a building
pulling
things
off
game.
Episode 8.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But
seven. By the way, did you hear that they may be retconning all of the sequel trilogy?
I don't care. I hadn't. That's it's disappointing. Is that true?
They're talking about it, but if they do it, it's going to be it's going to be a retcon built off of The Mandalorian, and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to be the executive directors of it.
I don't care what's canon and what's not.
Right.
And that's also my rant about fandoms. Fandoms, double-edged sword. They destroy things. Fandoms build things up and then they destroy them.
I mean, fandoms almost killed the actual actor of Jar Jar Binks.
Right.
He considered committing suicide because people were so horrible.
And the kid that played young Anakin, what's his name again? Haley Joel Osment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fandoms destroy things. For God's sake, settle down.
I just like to admire the Rian Johnson Star Wars for my initial reaction from when I left the movie the first time. It was fine. It was Star Wars, and I enjoyed it. A bad Star Wars is still Star Wars. Get off my back.
This should not be canon.
You should be fired from a canon.
Yeah, I don't care what's canon and what's not. That's the very obsession with things being canon and having a timeline is just that is the topic of neckbeards from fandoms. We've all shaved our neckbeard.
Mine doesn't even grow. Mine doesn't even grow.
Oh, okay. No, I have to. It grows. It grows all the way down.
I believe that. I believe that, Alex.
Yeah, but no, that is I'm a reformed neckbeard. I have it under control. But no, the very topics of this is canon and that's not, and this is in the timeline. I don't care. I don't care. Stop caring.
Stop caring. Stop being a weeb.
Why are you like this?
Who hurt you?
Kind of. I don't know. Get over it. Just watch the damn show.
Yeah. Going back to Rick and Morty.
The same.
Yeah. Greg, do you got anything you want to bring up? You got anything going on lately?
Not a whole lot. Been too busy. I am playing a game that I like. I'm playing Scarlet Nexus.
Oh yeah. How is that?
I really like it. And I really like it on the PS5 because of the adaptive triggers. I played the demo on both consoles. I want the adaptive triggers for that game.
How much is it?
I wasn't going to buy it when it first came out because I was waiting for it to go on sale, but it was one of those games that for some reason the retailers decided to have a pre-order war over, and the price dropped to below $50. I'm like, okay, I'll buy it.
Okay.
I don't know if you can still get it that cheap, but when it first came out, it was one of those games where they're just like, well, I'm going to sell it lower, and then no, I'm going to sell it lower, and it got under $50.
So, I've heard that it's a pretty good game, but I don't really understand. I don't think I remember what it's about.
Okay, so I've only got most of the way through half of it. There's actually two main characters, and each one of them have a completely separate story. It's the same game, but from their point of view and their story. And I've only played one of them so far. I haven't got to the other one. Action RPG, very much a JRPG. Storytelling is almost Persona level with lots of it. Some of it is animated like an anime. Some of it is mostly still frame like a manga. But lots of storytelling. Whole sections of just story, like Persona 5. Good story. I'm not bothered by the story. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just there's a lot of it. But the combat is so much fun. The combat's amazing. Everyone has kind of like a mutant type power. The main character has telekinesis, but you can blend with somebody else's. So, like, you've got someone in your party who's pyrokinetic. You can temporarily share their power to where you have your telekinetic powers on fire, or you can merge with someone who can teleport, and you can teleport and use your telekinetic powers. So it's kind of fun. You can go into like an overdrive to where your kinetic powers go crazy, but if you use it for too long, you'll literally go insane and die. But it's pretty fun, and the story is definitely interesting. It was interesting from day one, but it keeps getting deeper as it goes. It keeps digging. Like, that story just keeps getting deeper and deeper.
Sounds a little bit like did you play Xenogear?
Mm-hmm.
Or no? Is it Xenogear? Is that the one for Nintendo? The one with Pyra.
What? You're thinking of Xenoblade.
Xenoblade! Yes, Xenoblade.
More storytelling than that, and the combat is more action oriented than that one.
Okay.
What system is this on again, and where can I buy it?
You can get it on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you know if you get a PlayStation 4 version, if you can, it's a 5 free upgrade, or?
They sell them separately.
Okay.
I doubt that you get it for free because they do sell them separately, but they're the same price.
Oh, okay.
It's not a $70 game. It's a $60 game when it's at full price. And like I said, I got it for like $45, I think, because they were fighting. They had a price war. I don't know why that was the game they chose to have a price war for, but they did.
Yeah.
You can also always check Walmart too, because Walmart has decided that it wants to just automatically sell the cheapest games. They sell a lot of games, even some of the $70 ones, for $50.
Oh, I actually read somewhere on that as far as like Walmart recently, what they're doing as far as like randomly putting things on sale isn't necessarily for the consumer, but so that if somebody returns something to the store and they don't have a receipt, they can give them the lowest price that any Walmart has ever had it for.
I can see that, but most of their games, their set price on a lot of games for console right now are $50 or less the day it comes out. They've just decided that they're going to be the place to go buy games physically.
Yeah,
I've noticed that too.
I don't even
Usually
go into
like
Walmart.
$50 or so.
they'll even the $70 PS5 exclusives, they'll have sometimes for 60 or 65. And if they can't, for some reason, they'll sell it for 68 or 69 just so that they're still cheaper. They're still below the $70 mark.
Rolling back prices. Oh, man.
But it's a pretty fun game. I have a sneaky feeling by the time I finish both characters' story, I will have quite a few hours in it. Because I've already got quite a few game hours in it, and I don't think the game hours are counting all the times it pauses for story. So, definitely go get my money's worth.
Oh, and why is it all of a sudden that on PlayStation 5, now all my play hours are tracked, where it didn't have that on PlayStation 4, and on the PlayStation 4 games that I played on my account, it has all of that tracked time.
I don't know.
I thought that was weird, because I went back and I was like, I feel like I played this game for a long time, and then it'll say that I played it for like 25 hours, but then
that is weird. I can only do that annually on the sometimes like on the PlayStation it'd be like, here's like your top 3 games, but I don't remember on the PlayStation 4 being able to see them all.
Yeah, but PlayStation, I did see something that I totally expected to see, which was I logged in and it said Ghost of Tsushima was 85 hours, and I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Mike, are you gonna get Ghost Director's Cut when it comes out on the 20th?
No, but I did get the original, and I'm working I have a few weeks. It kind of felt repetitive there, but I've enjoyed everything about it so far.
The lower part of the island feels a little repetitive
I
at
will
times.
Get back to finishing it soon. I mean, it's beautiful and good gameplay, great dialogue. Yeah, that's probably where I am now.
Yeah, after you get past Castle Canada, it really. Hey, you know what, Alex? You called it that so many times when we were talking about it.
I was joking.
Yeah, well, I am now too. I think.
We are going to Canada.
No, I'm sorry. Every time that they said that in the game, Castle Canada, I was thinking of Akira. You know.
Yeah.
That's what
we
I
shall
thought,
have
too.
our battle in Canada.
Well, anyway, after you get past that,
Okay.
then there's more variety, and then you get to the northern part of the island, and it's all snowy and everything. The game.
Is it bad? Is it bad? I thought the end of it.
What?
Just like living Midgar for the first time. I thought that was the end of the game. And then 25 years later, it was the end of the game. Anyways.
25 years later. That is funny. I didn't.
How about that?
I still haven't played the Yuffie story yet.
I haven't played it yet. I haven't beat the original yet. I take too long.
It's only 4 hours long.
Well, I haven't bought it, and I am going to. It's just right now I'm more concerned with paying off my bundle than buying new games. Plus, I'm still playing Ratchet and Clank. I haven't finished that yet, so, and that's fantastic.
It's fun just for the final scenes, because it kind of gives you an update of what's going on in the main storyline, and it gets a little wild. Spoilers.
I'm still calling it now. I'm still saying that in the next game, you're gonna find out that Zack is the leader of the Greater Avalanche.
Hard to tell. Hard to tell
There's
where they're
definitely
going.
precedent. Yeah, there's a lot of theories, and I don't hate a lot of them. They're all not bad theories. I just don't know which one's the right theory. Maybe none of them.
I I definitely think that I mean the whole Zach thing, that's a theory, but I definitely with a lot of certainty, and I'm not and I'm not saying that I'm going to be mad if this doesn't happen, because I'm not that kind of fanboy, but I really think that Ares is a time traveler.
Definitely hints of that going on.
I mean, she literally showed Red 13 a flash of the future.
And Marlene.
And Marlene, yeah. She showed both of them a flash of the future. And Cloud got a flash of the future when he interacted with Ares. So that's my thought on that. Mike, do you have any geek outs or anything? Anything that's been going on other than Rage Breaking?
Yeah, everything. Well, I've had emergency phone calls from the drive-in in West Virginia, which are those calls. But geek out wise, those are not geek outs. That's the opposite. Not a whole lot. We talked about Metroid Dread, which I am excited for. I also pre-ordered Deathloop because it's been on sale on pre-order for forever. I'm like, yeah, $1 I think is what it is right now, and it has been since before they delayed it. But I didn't pre-order it then, and this time I'm like, I'm going to do it. It looks cool. It seems like it's like, I don't know, a shooter, but with Groundhog Day elements. So I'm here for it. I'll give it a try. I can always cancel the pre-order, I guess. I did that for Skyward Sword order, and I still haven't played it.
I tell you what, it might be the last Bethesda title on a Sony system.
And my deciding factor is that realization. That said, I think I pre-ordered it before the Starfield announcement of being exclusive. I may get an Xbox. I don't know. I got to think about it.
They're pretty good this time around. You can always get the slightly weaker one if you don't want to invest.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I haven't had an Xbox since the original one, and I didn't hate it. I just didn't think there's enough reason to get anything else besides Halo.
I also think that they're going to, from the way it's looking...
They've given me a reason now, at least, to want to get one.
I think they'll release dedicated streaming stick or something, too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was fixing something. I'm still holding out hope that a lot of the newer games are going to come to Game Pass, and I'll just get Game Pass for a month or two when it comes out. But anyway, so I think we're done. I think we're done for the night. It's almost been 2 hours.
Oh.
So it's almost 8 o'clock. So I say it's done. I say we're done. We've gotten past and we've caught up with the stuff that we've missed. And super excited for the next episode. And I hope you guys are too. And I hope our fans are too. It's going to be a very exciting episode. And I'm hoping that we're going to have some good stuff coming here very soon. And this has been RGCWV, Random Geek Culture in West Virginia. With me almost the whole time was Alex and Greg, and part of the time Mike. And if you like this, you can follow us on Twitch. You can also follow us on the YouTubes. You can follow us on the Anchors, where we post the audio portion of this. We also have presence on Linktree, which links back to all the other places. So if you see a Linktree link on one place, it'll take you to another place, and you can follow us in all the places. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can like, comment, subscribe. You can even dislike it if you want to. The algorithm likes interaction, so no skin off my back. And if you want to reach out to me, you can email us. The emails are in all the places. And if you want to call and leave a voicemail message or send me a text, you can send that over to 304-566-9777. Welcome to the end.
Bye.
Bye-bye.